listening to Fresh Heat Radio.
Alright, we back. It's Fresh Heat Radio. You already know what time. You already know. Talk to him, Z.
And you already know who I'm here with.
FreshMann. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Talk to him, Z.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got another good show for y'all coming up. We about to get into it. We got another nice topic that a lot of y'all can probably relate to. But before we get into that, make sure y'all click that like and subscribe button. Make sure y'all tune in every time when we log on, giving y'all that fresh heat on Fresh Heat Radio. What we talking about today, though?
Yo, you already know we got to come with topics that is relevant to our life. And got to give my man shout out to Z Heat. Came up with a nice one talking about youth sports. Now, this is near and dear to my heart and definitely near and dear to my boy Z's heart. Number one, the young bull, a.k.a. J Heat,
You already know.
is running the track life. And then I'm on the other side of it, actually trying to formulate a sports program for the military kids. So Z, tell me your walkthrough as, I guess, a parent, former athlete. How do you navigate the youth sports or whatever you want to contribute to that youth sports particulars with your son?
So, I mean, I think youth sports is big. I always like having him involved just being part of the team. You know what I mean? I think as a child, it's important to have that as part of your development, even if you don't want to go pro, pursue sports, you know what I mean, hard like that. Just to still get into it from a recreational point of view, it's good. It's good to learn. So, yeah, like we were saying, you know what I mean, Dave, I've been trying to get him into something. He used to hoop back when he was a little bit younger, a couple years, but once COVID hit, my man took a couple years off. You know what I mean?
It's the worst, man, the worst.
It hit, you know, he had the wrong time. He had just made that AAU basketball team that he wanted to get on, you know what I mean? And then boom, COVID hit right after that. And they shut everything down, you know what I mean? And it was just one of them things, you know what I mean? He kind of lost motivation for it, sat in the house for about another 2 years almost, for real. And then I was like, oh, we got to get active again. Man, 10, 13, 14, he turned 15 here in a couple of days.
Yikes! Yikes!
We had to get active. I tried to put him up in boxing up in Frederick. He loved it, you know what I mean?
Right.
He loved being in the Shark Tank, you know what I mean? He loved being in the pit. He loved being with the boys and they're talking this talk, you know what I mean? Whether it's throw hands to show what it is. Like, he liked that, right?
Hey!
They like to compete. He always liked to compete, you know what I mean? But for whatever reason, me and man give him much competition just in general. So yeah, long story short, you know what I mean? Got him at the house, got him out there on the track team. He loved it, of course. He had his first meet a couple weeks ago. Loves it, you know what I mean? Got out there, did good on his first race, you know what I mean? So now he's hungry for it. He trying to train, he trying to win.
Word. Got that eye of the tiger now, huh?
Right. So we've been working out. You go to practice every day. We in the house doing drills, working out a little bit when you get home. You know what I mean? He learning how to take care of his body. He wanted to learn more about himself. You know what I mean? Which is perfect timing for him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's perfect time. Get into yourself, bro. Like learn how your whole shit works. So it's been good. Once again, all reasons why youth sports is clutch. You know what I mean? But what I want to talk about particularly is going back what you said, because you said you're developing a youth sports program. And that's what I want to talk about. Youth sports as a whole.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And how it's pushed now from as early as it's pushed, you know what I mean, youth little league sports to the pro pipeline, you know what I mean? Like that transition and how hard kids are in it and how early kids are starting to train is crazy.
So you know, I do want to speak to that. And I'm gonna go on your train of thought, and then I'm gonna backtrack and try to get some other pieces to the puzzle as well. Number one, again, we've already discussed the prevalence of social media and how that's changed the world, but I think now it's more of a conscious effort to how many people are actually doing it. I think there was always like young boys training, like LeBron James. I think he was always like training like that. I think even back to when I was a young kid, like I would know which kids are probably going to make it to the league. There was this one boy, John Gilchrist. He played ball for Maryland, and he was automatically about to go to the pros. Got into some issues, and then of course played in Israel no more. But I literally remember him as a kid running around the neighborhood early morning before the bus came. I remember him on Sundays in a shirt and tie dribbling outside his crib like for an hour until he was getting ready to go to church. So like again, it was something different that I saw visually. Now we're talking about, of course he's not an anomaly. Like kids are doing this around the world. I think now with social media, now it's like, yo, this 5-year-old is eating on them on a football field and cutting. My skills ain't up to par yet. Or, oh, this kid is bench pressing like 250 pounds and he's 14. My skills ain't up to par yet. I think now it is the best time to make a more well-rounded athlete because you're constantly reminded of somebody out there is better than you. Somebody deserves a one, in the words of my man Z, more than you do. And I think that has drastically changed youth sports and also put more of a focus on different people around the United States and now around the world, really, because social media is endless. So with the Instagram page, if I put Ball is Life 101 and I'm doing Ball is Life, like I'm sure scouts are like, what is this Ball is Life guy doing? Oh, he's all right. Well, is he better than this guy in the Ukraine that's balling at like 6'8", 250 and dunking on people? It's different. How that formulates to the real life, though, is it's frustrating. Because nobody wants to do what Joel Embiid talks about. Nobody wants to trust the process. They don't want to trust it. They want to jump from 0 to 100 real quick. And that's, now I'm a backtrack, that's the gap I'm trying to learn how to massage in the youth sports. I am strictly, just like when I train boxing, I'm strictly focused on developmental sports. That is going to be the niche that I want to start in. Have a solid developmental program where you learn the bare basics, and I want those kids that are hungry to learn the bare basics, because like you said, I think a kid first time trying out sports would be really adept to being like, yo, I'm not fast enough. Like they got to get humbled one time. Like, I'm not fast enough, I'm not strong enough. But somebody can come at that point in time and give them horrible information. I want to be and provide a service that when they hit that, go see youth sports at Keys Air Force Base, they're going to get you right. Like, that's what I want to have. To be like the developmental gurus of 101. To where we're not jumping to 1,000 degrees. We're not jumping to full-on, 5-on-5 basketball. No, let's start with some drills. Like, we're going to do a whole season of drills. Yes, it's not going to be entertaining, but it is going to enhance your skills. And now you have something to take home and practice. Like you said, your son is doing sprints in the driveway. For me, I would want to give him some stretches to do. I'd want to give him some warm-ups to do. I want to show him, okay, if you want to cut down your seconds, let's work on form. Practice this form 9,000 times a day. Like, just like with boxing, you already know, I trained you. We're not going into mad uppercuts until you master a jab. There's no point. But again, when you're seeing all these people doing a nice pad work, you want to get into it because you want to go from 0 to 100 because of social media, and then it makes you feel bad about yourself because you're comparing your beginning state probably to somebody's advanced state. It's not fair. So that's the only complication I'm seeing with youth sports right now. So my niche, developmental all day.
Nah, that's it. That's exactly what's needed out here, like you said, because it's a gap. And what a lot of people, like, you get in, and they start on so sports specific from the jump.
Yeah.
They start on so sports specific from the jump, and it's just like, absolutely, developmental sports is that niche that's definitely needed. It's that gap because the key, I feel like, for early success in sports is not jumping into the sport specific, but like the overall just athleticism, right? You know what I mean? Like overall conditioning, overall, like you were saying, you know what I mean, plyometrics, you know what I mean, overall just different activities to where you can really just master your body.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then from there, you know what I mean, like it makes it so much easier to get into whatever sport that you want to get into. If you want to get into track, fundamentals of track all day, or boxing. But once you get into sports-specific fundamentals, you know what I mean, then you're talking about something completely different to where it can still help maximize your own body, right? You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel like is key. And that's what I like giving the boy, because that's the only thing I really can give, because I don't really play any sports specifically, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? But what I do know how to do is take care of my body, right? You know what I mean? Like I do understand the science enough to be able to get out there with him. It's just like, well, I can't train you how to run a faster time on the track. But what I can do is help you get your conditioning
Absolutely.
We can work on that. I don't know nothing about jumping over hurdles or performing for the long jump. You know what I mean? However, you know what I mean? We definitely got an agility ladder outside of some cones. We can definitely work on some maneuvers. You know what I mean? And some foot speed out here all day. It's just the basics, like you said, developmental. But the younger you get it, the more successful you'll be.
Go ahead. No, I'm gonna let you finish.
No. I was just saying, but it's so many kids out here that are so young these days. You know what I mean? It is wild to see so many young kids. It seems like everybody, if you're gonna start, you have to start early because the next person is start early.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can't really wait if you were trying to go hard, or you can't really afford to wait until high school to just get started.
Oh, absolutely not. Unless, and what I will say, there are rare circumstances, but it's like two things that happen. They're either like overly developed, like muscular wise, or they're overly like developed height wise. Like if you're 6'7" and you want to start playing basketball in high school, you probably can rock like that. Like you're probably gonna be good out here because you're probably gonna be monstering over like regular JV people. You're gonna have to play varsity, which will give you that exposure to different talent levels. I think you won't get much of a shell shock because you'll be able to beat up on them at 6'7". However, like you said, it would have been drastically better if you don't even enter a sport specific until high school because you know how to take care of your body and you learn your body. That's also important too. I think working with boxers, it forces you to learn your body. And I mean it by this. Perfect example for you, right?
Right.
If I'm training you, I'm going to be so specific to a lot of details about you that I can't necessarily use a fight plan that I'm going to use for you on everybody else. Your reach is probably like an 86, 87 long arm reach. I can't train you like I would train somebody that has short, stubby arms like Mike Tyson. I can't. But you also start to learn your body. You learn distance. You know, okay, if I'm that close, I'll probably tag him off that. Or if I'm this close. Now I'm starting to learn. And now I know how to generate power. Because if I pivot my foot this way, right hand really ain't got it. But if I pivot it this way, oh, you about to feel this. Like that type of thing helps you learn your body and get comfortable with what you can do. Same thing of what you got to do in some kind of sports. Yeah, I might not be fast, but I guarantee I can outrun everybody up here. So maybe explosive sports aren't your thing, but condition is. You don't have to necessarily sprint in every single sport you play. Are there some plyometric sports? Yeah, the more popular ones. That's why they get their popularity. You see people jump high, run fast, yes. But there are some skilled sports where you don't need that. You might be leaning more to that. My beef is that everybody sends their kids into baseball, basketball, football, and soccer. My God, everybody is throwing money. I mean, colleges are literally throwing money at every other sport. You telling me you can like playing basketball? Matter of fact, there's plenty of NFL players that probably could have made it to the pros with basketball. They still play, but they don't have to go that way, probably because they excel more. Perfect example, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray. They both could have played MLB. Easy work. But they said, you know what? No, I like the football leaning better because they probably learned their body and they were more apt to football. And you see that. Could they play both? Yeah, probably could. Would they excel in the same way? LeBron James probably could have been a beast wide receiver. Knowing his body, maybe not the football field would have been good for me. Basketball is more my suit. Now my man can play into 20 years in the game. Football probably lasts like 8. You know, thinking about those things. Other people built for longevity in the sport. Tom Brady played till about 48. So, I mean, you know, it's all about learning your body, being apt to that. And like you said, perfect example is getting exposure early. My belief, and I want to ask you this. How do you feel if you would have started by the time he was like 4, training, how would you have felt if he would have went sports specific like AAU in elementary school?
That's fine. Yeah, like I said, there's not an issue going sports specific. You know what I mean? It's got to be a will. The only bad thing about going sports specific too early with kids, I feel like you had the potential to burn that child out on that sport before they, you know what I mean, really peak in it. You know what I mean? That is the thing. Because a lot of times you get some of these parents who want it more than the child.
Absolutely. And acting like they're all-star themselves.
This is why a lot of them start so early. Because I'm going to start my kid early so my kid is better than y'all. Meanwhile, kids might not even really want to do that to begin with. You know what I mean? So now you do. And you will have a lot of kids who are good at a certain sport, but who just don't want to play a sport. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people in the NBA who don't want to play in the NBA, but that's
You're right about that.
This is it. You know what I mean? I play ball. I've got good at playing basketball, and then you got the people who just really love the actual sport of basketball. You know what I mean? So that's really the only risk that I feel like you run getting them involved too early. But they will be a lot better in whatever sport that they're specific in if they have some type of developmental training prior to that. You know what I mean? Just learning basic athleticism. But this is the kids who can start, you know what I mean, at later age is not, they might start playing basketball. Like you got people like Russell Westbrook.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He didn't start playing basketball until way later in his career, but the man is an athletic freak of nature.
Absolutely.
Like, boy got bounced out of this world, you know what I mean?
And don't forget about the late growth spurt. The man went from 5'8" to 6'3". That's wild. That's wild.
Precisely. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So like you'll have people that will start late, you know what I mean? But they still had to have that ability. Like what was he doing? What sports was he playing prior to basketball, you know what I mean?
Right.
To where he was still getting that development. But yeah, it's definitely important. It's definitely important. The earlier you get it, the better it'll be.
So are you going to be a proponent of lifting weights early? Granted, I know your son's already 15, but would you have been a proponent of lifting weights when he hit like 10?
Nah, I wanted to say all real, because for me, with weights is going to come, it's not just weights, it comes to diet with it, right?
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
what I mean? And I really wasn't trying to start manipulating the diet too early, you know what I mean? Because it's something that I wasn't going to consistently be on with him throughout his entire childhood.
Right.
But it's something that we can educate as we go along. Like now, this is something we talk about. We just talk about, you know what I mean, caloric deficit, how much you take in, how much you take out if you're trying to gain weight, you know what I mean? With it, you know what I mean? Like we can start talking about it now. And now it's his choice. You know what I mean? Now you get in the weight room, but you know the protein shake is on you. You know the extra food is on you. You know what you need to be doing. That is not my responsibility. I'm not the one dictating it. So I would wait till they're old enough to accept the responsibility of the weight room. I wouldn't necessarily do 10. You know what I mean? I would have did like middle school once he starts playing a sport. You know what I mean? Like if the guy who's playing pop one, definitely dealing in the high school. You know what I mean? Get in the weight room now. You know what I mean? Definitely.
So
I would say like 13.
Okay. So I'm at the cusp right now. Genevieve turns 5 in April, and now it's like, you know, we've done, and I'm going with the whole thing. Me personally, I'm not going sports specific until middle school. Like I want her to learn her body. So right now it's going to be gymnastics, it's going to be karate, it's going to be just regular running around, not even necessarily track. Which again, I don't have a problem with track because again, I feel like that forces you to be in shape. So I'm cool with track. And another thing I'm actually cool with that is a sport specific, but it, again, boosts endurance and something that you don't really practice a lot is foot and eye coordination is soccer. I'm all about soccer. I'm all about track. Because, again, you get that footwork right. And as my man Z said, peep the footwork. If your footwork ain't right in any sport, you're trash. Every sport requires footwork. Every sport. And no sport's going to dominate and focus on your feet. Unless you're a football kicker, no sport's going to dominate on your footwork like soccer, to where you have to coordinate and move your body and learn how your body moves. So I'm big on soccer. As soon as soccer season rolls around again, she's up in there. And then gymnastics, I love that fact too, because that'll help her build naturally upper body strength. And karate definitely helps her control the core and also learn how to defend herself, because we need that in just off GP. So I'm all about that.
Precisely. So yeah, and also that's another thing. Like I'm not against working the kids working out her. You know what I mean? Like I said, now if you want to start working them out at 5, 6, 7 years old, absolutely.
Calisthenics all day. Calisthenics all day.
And conditioning. They never too young to get out there. Like I said, track is good for those freaks.
Absolutely.
Get out there. Because once again, learning how to run is a thing. Running efficiently. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you right now, as a former PE teacher, the two hardest things, and I tell people all this time, the two hardest things to teach, and this is wherever you go. The hardest thing to teach is a transition from a skip to a run, learning how to skip and then learning how to run properly, and throwing a ball. Those two things, if you can teach that off rip, you impress me, because I literally don't know how you take somebody, and again, that's body control with a throw, and then body control with a run to or a skip to a run. Those two things, if you can do that, you a beast. And like you said, those need to be continuously trained. Kicking the ball is just like walking, so that's easy to teach. But when we're talking about those fine-tune skills, running and throwing, you got to learn that.
You gotta learn that. You gotta learn that. You need somebody to teach you that properly. You need somebody to get in there and make sure that you're doing it correct. That's what I'm saying. The younger that you start on those type of things, absolutely. I mean, the better. And then, like you said, things like karate, jiu-jitsu, I mean, those type of things,
Yep.
those type of little combat sport is clutch, even if it's just boxing. You know what I mean? Like I said, like some type of a combat sport where they can get in there and get a full body, you know what I mean, up against another force, you know what I mean, type situation.
And that's true. And that's true. Because think about it. Any sport you play, you're going to feel contact. I don't want you feeling contact and being shocked with it. I want you to be like, oh, that's nothing. I got punched in the face. I'm good. Like,
That's what that feels like.
Absolutely.
Like, because the contact is what builds the confidence, right?
You're right about that. I like that. Contact is what builds the confidence. That's clutch.
It's what builds the confidence. Once you're not afraid of contact no more, your confidence goes up because it's contact. What else is there to be afraid of?
Exactly. You're not going to die. You're just going to get hit.
You're not gonna die. Precisely. You know what I mean? So, yeah, absolutely. Nah, developmental sports is key.
For just to wrap this up, not going to do the shot questions. What would you say is going to be your goal for your son by the end of track season? What would you want to instill in him before the end of track season?
So we talking about like an actual goal on the track, or we talking about like
We talking period, because this is going to be like his first major sport he's playing, right?
All right, yeah.
So what are you trying to instill in him through track season? We'll wrap it up after that.
Yeah, so this is his first school sport. So what the two things I'm trying to do? One, we definitely want to work on, well, from a personality trait, we're working on self-discipline. I want him to start to learn how to push himself without there being somebody having to push him. You know what I mean? Set his own goals and meet those goals himself. You know what I mean? I definitely want to challenge him. We're going to do that through his time. I think right now he just ran 240, I think, was his first week. So we're going to get that down. I mean, we got our first target on the 230, and we're going to keep pushing it from there. Like I said, he got on the 4x8 as well. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. Like I said, like we got our goals. But our number one goal is to finish the season and finish it better than when we started. And then we'll roll into summer track from there. He already said he wanted to do that, and we're looking at football for next season. So we're gonna probably get into football over the summer too with their summer workout. So
Nice.
yeah. So that's our goal, is to finish strong under at least 230. For that time.
That's what's up. And again, I think wrapping it up, having those key things that are more than sports, right? Like, because again, you already hit on it. There's nothing to me that teaches better life skills than sports. And that's for me personally. And that's what I want to try to instill in our family. And that's what I already see you instilling in your family. The hard work, the grit, all those things don't just stop when you stop playing sports. We've all been at a point where we didn't have a job. We've all been at a point where we got to push through. So at the end of the day, those key concepts that he's teaching, make sure y'all are doing that on an everyday basis, because that's super important. Learn your body, take care of your body, learn how to push through, and lastly, learn your goals. Fresh Heat Radio, Z sign us out, because you know how we do.
Ready, know what it is. It's another good one in the books. We appreciate having y'all. Make sure once again y'all hit that like and subscribe before you get up out of here and leave. You know what I mean? Leave us something in the comments. We definitely be reading those. You know what I mean? If y'all got topic ideas, whatever y'all want us to talk about, let us know. We can definitely get on it. But until next time, y'all take care of yourselves.
And we're going to smack y'all twice this week, so stay tuned. Adios.